we, with our trip to Salt Lake City, saw the Book of Mormon on Broadway, on Main Street, whatever street that what the Eccles is on, and had seen Heretic last fall. And I looked at the census again. You know, Idaho Falls at one point was 75% LDS.
Right.
We're where the people in Salt Lake came to because Salt Lake was getting a little too crazy.
Right. So true.
Now I think especially in Bonneville County, we're 50-60%, somewhere in there.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Idaho Falls proper.
Yeah. Idaho Falls is one of the bigger cities in the area.
Still over half LDS. Yeah. But so it's just a part of our culture. And we didn't quite realize we were doing it, but last episode we realized, okay, we're on this kick apparently about everything the church doesn't want you to watch.
Yeah.
So Heretic, the Book of Mormon, the South Park episodes, American Primeval, which we'll mention again here in just a second. And then we finally finished Under the Banner of Heaven.
Yeah.
My 2-word review, holy shit.
So good.
So good.
And I will say I was very impressed by Andrew Garfield in that series.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he gets
the middle Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, and he gets some of the mannerisms down. Like, watching him felt like watching all of the guys that I went to church with when I was younger. You know, it was so, like, he just did a really darn good job. I almost wonder if he went to, like, Mormon church for a few weeks.
Right.
Can you imagine the Mormon sitting on the back pew in that service being like, is that who I think it is?
Right.
Is Spider-Man in our congregation
How
today?
would Andrew Garfield go undercover?
Right.
Have you seen
Maybe
the
a
super
mustache?
cute video of a tourist takes a picture, you know how they do on Hollywood Boulevard?
Right, where they've got like random people dressed up as characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Spider-Man, he takes off his mask. It's Andrew Garfield. And he's stoked to get that $1 tip for the photo. Really great.
Yeah, that's cool though.
But the book came out in 06 or something in the 2000s.
Early aughts.
Yeah, this is on Hulu, and it came out in 2022.
Yeah.
Based on some murders in 84 in American Fork, I want to say, but they're in the Salt Lake Valley in between Provo and Salt Lake City. And it really dives into, and I'm sure the church wants to not talk about this.
Yeah.
But it dives into the differences between LDS and FLDS.
Right.
And what the motivation was and the history of the church. I thought it was kind of interesting because, as it so happens, American Primeval starts with, spoiler alert, the Mountain Meadows Massacre. And in the last episode of Under the Banner of Heaven, they have sort of a reenactment of the Mountain Meadows Massacre.
Right.
So you could watch maybe Under the Banner of Heaven first, then American Primeval.
You know, I'm actually pretty happy with the order we went in because that gave us a better idea of what the Mountain Meadows Massacre was, you know, so we knew what they were talking about.
Yeah.
So I would say American Primeval first, then Under the Banner of Heaven.
And were the Danites involved and the Mormon militia, and to what extent was Brigham Young involved and why?
Right.
And so I had those questions, and I think I saw a comment somewhere, oh, that's something they won't teach you at BYU. Come to find out it is. Right there on the BYU website.
Okay, cool.
They've got a whole page about it, and so does LDS.org.
Well, and you know,
which now redirects you to churchofjesuschrist.org.
Right.
After their rebranding, they went from the temple in Moroni to the Christus statue, which we've talked about now as their logo.
And I think in the age of the internet, when you can search anything in a matter of moments, it makes a lot of sense for them to at least teach it.
Tell their side.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's also, anywhere you look, you just need those search terms. You know, Mountain Meadows Massacre.
Yeah.
Get you a wealth of information. You know, something I noticed, too, in my internet travels was the LDS Church claims a membership of 17 million.
Right.
And some of those are kids who have been baptized but aren't adult yet. Some of them are adults that can't speak for themselves.
Yep.
But I think it's kind of interesting that, am I going to say, is this a hot take? Does social media tell on you? What I mean by that is they have 2.5 million followers on Facebook. They have 2.4 million subscribers, 1.4 million Instagram followers.
Right.
Out of a membership of 17 million. So how many of those 17 million are people who just don't have social media? Or how many of them are Jack Mormons?
Right. Or people who have left the church but haven't actively gone back to have their names removed, which is a whole process that some people even get lawyers involved in.
Right.
Because it's so much easier than doing it yourself.
Do you know, okay, this total sidebar.
Technically, I think I'm counted as one, even though I am no longer Mormon.
Right. You are a FOMO, an ex-Mo. Mm-hmm. And did you hear, sort of along the same vein, in Japan, most people who want to quit their job hire a company to do it for them?
Oh, yeah. It's because they have a really crazy culture with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like where they will guilt you into not quitting, and they'll, like, it's incredibly hard to leave a job in Japan.
Yeah, you have to make like an apology where you bow down, you genuflect so much that your head hits the floor.
Yeah.
And like just as part of their culture.
I don't blame them for hiring someone because that sounds exhausting and I could not. You know, I kind of wonder if the guy from the Mormon Stories podcast is also still counted as a Mormon or if he actually took the time to get his name taken off.
John DeLynn.
He seems like he would have.
Yeah, if you're still tuned into us and not terribly offended by us, consuming all sorts of media.
And being Mo no Mo.
Right. John DeLynn is a fascinating dude who has fascinating guests.